Hey guys, welcome to the series of Beyond the Power again. And last video, we just had some brief discussion about how and what exactly we are going to go into the series and what are like basic servers are made of and what happens when you hit the power button and all the other things. Now, when we are going to get into more about the hardware detail, so what happens? Let's go on a small shopping. So we'll know a little bit more about the server itself. So here we come to a super micro website and what are the workstation server rack they are offering. Let's say this is a 2 unit rack server workstation. Okay, it's work for us to get to know what exactly it is. Now, let's say we open this and what exactly they are going to offer. So you see, they are offering 8 hot swap NVMe or SATA devices. So that means that without doing any all the maintenance, you can just plug and play. Like, okay, you want to insert a 1 TB, remove and insert a 2 TB, you can just easily do it. So that's a disk drive base. Then comes over here, you have this power LED. Like, if you are into like a rack server management and you have this complete rack filled of this kind of servers, and you just have a power button and power LED just to show that whether it's actually working or not. Now, this is when we are discussing about like a manual power trigger. So power button mechanical will always be there. But here comes the rear view. What exactly server looks like on its back. Now, as you can notice over here, it's not a simple power. Like in a normal laptop, you would see 65 watt would be sufficient to charge your battery. But when it's come to this kind of a capable server, it has number of PCI cards, RAMs, disks. You can see clearly that it takes like about 2600 watt power supply. And that's just a one. Now you may see that why there are two power supply. That is because we need to maintain a backup power supply. So because it's a server, let's say anything happens and the one power supply you may see some kind of a failure, then you immediately have a second power supply in your production to switch and continue to work and avoid any downtime. Now, in a worst case, if you need some kind of a temporary output from your BMC console and configure your BMC, for that's why you have a VGA port. This is not a display port to get running your server. It is just to get your BMC board, which is your baseboard management controller, which has see IPMI port and it has some USB port to configure. And now you can see all these numbers are tagged written over here, where if you see this one, it contains a PCI slots, and second contains either nothing or it may contain another PCI slots. Same goes for 3 and 4. And you can see other this slot also 5, 6, 7, 8. These are also like either a PCI 8-pin slot we can connect or like we can just keep it a blank. Okay. So this is like a typical architecture that we are going to see, and you can see like a top view how it looks like. So if you see from the top view perspective, you can clearly see that it has this 8 DIMM slots. So 4 on the left side and 4 on the right side. And at the center, we will have the processor attached. So now here you see in this product, it's AMD Ryzen Threadripper, or it can have an Intel Xeon processor, but it will have the server that we want to attach, and it can have a single socket server, multi-socket server. So there are a lot of things about that, but you can consider for now like you have then fans. So this 6 fans are connected to this board pins so that we are maintaining a proper cooling. And still, this complete server will go into the rack, which is kept in a much more cooler environment. It is even lower than the temperature of a normal room temperature. And even if we turn on AC, it's still a little bit higher. So it's much cooler, and fan speed would be very high. Okay, so this is about a typical rack server. And when it boots up, it does a lot of jobs for you. And that's why it's important that you also know what it does and how it actually operates. Okay, so with that, we'll go more details into the next level series and happy coding.